Welcome, you guys. So, this three-pound picker card is titled, What is Their Karma for Consciously Re-Traumatizing You? Now, this is a form of oppression. This was used greatly during slavery times to psychically, uh, to convince the slaves to not leave their masters. Even if their masters would not actually be able to find slaves, slave owners went above and beyond to psychologically abuse and exploit the slaves that they had on the plantations. Um, they noticed that they were able to increase productivity among the slaves, the more fear that they instilled into the slaves. And this is a form of consciously re-traumatizing. Now, if there was a slave who was starting to understand how the game of re-traumatization and conscious and covert at that was taking place, well, these slaves were targeted viciously. They were raped purposely. They had their children taken from them purposely. There was a lot done. They would have other slaves turn on them. And this is how bad the psychological warfare had become. So when we're talking about conscious re-traumatization, this is something where someone who is really into the dark aspects of psychology, okay? Being that I'm from the South, I understand how deep the roots of slavery run. And part of slavery is consciously re-traumatizing someone. So someone will physically and mentally and emotionally believe that they're always constantly in danger. And this will make it so that they will repeat cycles of, putting themselves in danger by surrounding themselves around people who will also consciously re-traumatize them. Now, let me close this window so you guys can hear me more clearly. All right, you guys, so I'm back. So when you think about how deeply rooted slavery is and white supremacy has negatively impacted society as a whole, and the fact that we have white supremacists in office who are trying to hide their war crimes, for how they have, snuck in political agendas with, you know, um, you know, propagandas that, hey, this is what's best for the American people. You have to understand how come a lot of people we've met consciously re-traumatize others because there's something deeply ingrained and rooted in all of us where we're expecting to be consciously re-traumatized. This can this can show up as paranoia, okay? Paranoia where you're afraid of someone trying to hurt you, so you try to hurt them. And this is where a lot of people are understanding that they don't have healthy foundations of friendship because this type of paranoia has contributed to a lot of betrayal. And this is due to conscious re traumatization connected to slavery. Uh, Slaves were treated like money. Slaves were treated like prizes. The slaves that, defied slavery were treated the worst. And this is how, slave owners used to make an example out of other slaves. That if you try to do what this slave did, this is what we're going to do to you. And this is where, when we think about conscious re traumatization, we have to connect to the root of it. So, being that we have an understanding of how conscious re traumatization became a tactic to basically, you know, mentally enslave people to work for basically no money or very little money due to, fear, so that slave owners could have lived rich and comfortable the whole time. You have to understand that when you're dealing with white supremacists or just colonizer minded mentality people, when I say white supremacists, I'm not saying all white people are white supremacists. I've met some brothers and sisters who just like my brother and sister. When we're talking about white supremacists, we're talking back to slavery days, okay? I'm talking about colonizers, the ones who are the Columbuses discovering Americas, aka, bringing that dirt and bringing that dirt to new places and thinking that it's gonna stay, that it's gonna fix everything, running away from shit. Well, we're talking about conscious re-traumatization. We're talking about conscious re-traumatization on a global scale. Okay? So, without further ado, because you guys have a background of how conscious re-traumatization occurs and how it was developed, let's understand what is their karma for actually doing it for personal gain. Let's see what your pal or pals of choice. Welcome, pal one. So, what is their karma for consciously re-traumatizing you? Let's find out. We have the World, King of Pentacles, and the Queen of Cups. It's beautiful energy. So this is telling me that the person who consciously re-traumatized you really adored how you were able to be a nurturing force for them, okay? However, they understood how nurturing people can help create a safe environment so that it'll be easy for, a provider to achieve large amounts of wealth, okay? So this is saying, they consciously targeted you because they underestimated your they underestimated your level of sensitivity based off of how they lack emotional regulation, based off of how they can go into narcissistic rage when they feel an uncomfortable emotion. These people figured they could target you because you possessed an abundance of nurturing energy. And because these people needed healing, they thought you would be an easy target. Um, they are they were rooted and grounded in this belief system that they could overpower you because you possessed an abundance of sensitivities that they were disconnected from. Now we have the World again, the Queen of Cups, and the Fool. So, because you have removed yourself from the situation and closed out a very tough cycle with these people, and it was very tough to close this cycle out. Let's talk about it. This wasn't just something where you could say to them, "Hey, you're abusing my human rights. You're not respecting my boundaries." This was something where these people kept trying to take advantage of the situation with the Queen of Cups coming up again, okay? They kept trying to find every way to basically undermine you because they basically underestimated the power of emotions due to them being disconnected from their own emotions. So, with the Fool card here, they're going to have to go and they're going to be forced to have to go into a new direction, whether they want to or not. So this is letting you know you have successfully closed out a karmic cycle with this particular type of energy. Um, and with this Fool card here, this is also showing that they possessed a great amount of childishness where they feel, okay, well, if I can't bully this person covertly, maliciously, and emotionally, I can just go off and start a new adventure. So with the Temperance, the Seven of Wands, and the Fool card here, these people started a lot of shit. When I say they started so much shit, honey, if people went to their funeral, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you guys. If people went to their funeral and actually knew what they did, they wouldn't try to be nice and say, "Oh, this person was a joy to be around. This person, it was difficult with them sometimes, but we got through it." No, people are going to literally tell the truth. Every time this person came around, I felt like crap. And when that person left, I felt great. So these people are going to go off with the Fool card here and Temperance. They're going to go off looking for a brand new adventure because they just want to wipe the slate clean. They feel that if they just wipe the slate clean with you, then they're good. They feel they're great. They feel like, oh, no worries. So I'm not bothering this person anymore. Um, they're also trying to avoid legal issues at this point as well. They feel, oh, I'll just start fresh. I'll just start new. But what's going to happen is with this Seven of Wands here and this Seven of Swords here, everything that they did is going to follow them no matter where they go because people are going to be mindful. Do not give these people any room to basically have an excuse to get too comfortable. They're constantly going to be trying to make sure that they're safe. And people are just constantly going to be like, look, don't start no shit, won't be no shit. This means if they need ass whoopings on demand without the law getting involved, this is what can happen. Because wherever these people go, and I'm picking up on people, and this could be community gang stalkers, they simply bring havoc and chaos with them. So people are now at a point where it's like, don't get caught doing what you're doing. But if you gotta whoop their asses, whoop their asses. So if they go and try to get the law involved, they won't have any representation. And also, when I'm picking up, if their names do get put in the obituary, people are going to tell about how they're very grateful for learning how to learn, internal lessons from being around these difficult people. People are not going to try to spare their emotions or feelings no more. They're going to simply say, this is what it was really like with this person, and this is what I learned. And moving forward, I don't want to meet anybody like them anymore. They're not going to be glorified. These people wanted to be glorified. They're not going to be glorified. People are going to view them exactly as they are and do everything they can to keep these people away from them. And these people are going to feel like outsiders. That's why they're going to try to move. Some of them won't have the money to move, okay? Some of them who do move, they may think that no one will be aware of what's going on and the trouble that they bring. But this is where, because they're going to be new to new places, they going to piss the wrong people off and get their asses beat royally. Anyway, we're going to end that reading there, you guys, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this message. So, welcome, Pile 2. So, what is their karma for consciously re traumatizing you? Let's find out. We have the Judgment, Three of Hearts in reverse, and the Nine of Swords in reverse. All right, so these people, they had every intention of, having you develop resentment towards them. They wanted you to basically feel as if the reality of them bullying you was normal. So they're gonna get that very same reality. When everything was great with this Nine of Cups here, and this is when there was no problems, there was no issues at all. They didn't like the fact that, at times they could not have you when they wanted you, how they wanted you. Pile 2. So these people went above and beyond to basically normalize systematically bullying you. This could also have been in a group setting. These people are very intelligent and things like that. So they wanted you to develop resentment towards them so you could have a fear they're going to come back again. They're coming around. And so they wanted you to live in fear so you would basically, do less for yourself and not reach your full potential. Because they knew exactly if you reached your full potential, they would have no way to be in your life. Well, all of that bullying that they subjected you to actually made you stronger and gave you more fight and push to actually reach your full potential. So with the Nine of Cups, you will reach your full potential. And whatever it is they try to keep you from, any stability, any love, it's coming, okay? So these people, they went above and beyond to normalize systematic community game stalking, okay? This could showed up in as the form of gossiping, okay? You know, it was easy to trigger these people because if you just wanted time to yourself after having a good time with them, they would have misinterpreted as you're abandoning me because they have abandonment issues. So with the judgment card here, people ain't sparing their feelings no more. And it's not like they're gonna be vicious with it, or they're gonna be like, oh, you know, I want to basically negatively impact your foundation, because these people hope to negatively impact your foundation. Well, their foundation's been negatively impacted. Let's just say they're going to experience being the only ones realizing I started a fight with someone who doesn't give a fuck about me. With the Three of Swords in reverse, you letting this shit go. You like, I don't give a fuck anymore. Because it seems like the more I give fucks, the more you come around. With the not, and this is what's gonna make it so they can't come around. Because they're not gonna have no reason to be coming around if you have removed yourself from dire situations that they start. With the Nine of Swords in reverse, every fear that they try to create within you, they're gonna experience. Now, this is not something where it's like, yay, yay. Literally, when you understand the fears that they created within you was simply so that they could just be around you. They had no idea how basically creating psychosis in other people would actually hit them when it came back, because when they actually experience their own version of psychosis, bruh, it's gonna really hit their asses. Also, with the Six of Pentacles here, and also with the Ten of Wands here, these people are no longer going to be acting as if they cannot give back equally. They're going to be making sure they give back, and I'll tell you why. You basically gonna be getting blessed in unexpected ways, because these people, the psychosis that they create within others, it just fucks with simplicity. So basically, these people are gonna be removed with the Justice card upright and the ten of and the Nine of Wands. Basically, because they keep making everything difficult, the laws are going to be restructured so that they do not have any power to negatively impact simplicity. Now, with the Death card here and the Four of Pentacles, and we'll end your reading here. Those who owe a lot of debt, who will not be able to get those funds, they're gonna meet death, and that's all we'll say, and we'll end it there. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that message, and have a good day, you guys. So welcome, Pal 3. Construction outside. All right, you guys. So the fact that I noticed the construction outside, Pal 3, perhaps there's something being restructured, being rebuilt. Maybe something has been destroyed in their life and they're having to start from scratch. Well, we have the Ace of Pentacles, the Seven of Cups, and the Death card. So these people consciously re-traumatized you, and the way they did it, they basically had you thinking that everything you would do would end up horribly. They had you thinking with the Seven of Cups that, well, If you do this, you'll die. Basically, these people fear death tremendously. So they created a lot of scams utilizing death. This is where a lot of fear tactics were utilized so that people would feel obligated to, pay for protection. I'll give you guys a practical, logical example. Let's say, um, you could have your own thing going on, and all out of the blue, they're like, look, I see what you got going on, and it looks good, but I feel you've been misguided by someone. Now, if you're an open-minded person, you'll say, "Let me get a new perspective." If you're naive, they would have just said, how you're living is wrong. It's so wrong, in fact. Let us bring you to where you act. Let us show you what's right. But they basically, how these people try to consciously re-traumatize you, they try to tell you that what's wrong is right and what's right is wrong. And if you don't do, the right thing according to what their needs and their desires were in that moment, they try to scare you that you would basically have a horrible end. So these people with the Ace of Pentacles, they had background set. They had social platforms, forgive me, not backgrounds, but social platforms to promote this. Okay, they had supporters, they had individuals who would be able to say, hey, we will support your agenda. So with the Four of Pentacles and the Wheel of Fortune, the fact that a lot of individuals were afraid to live their best life, but saw some of these people seeming, with the Wheel of Fortune, seeming to have everything going well for them, it didn't make logical sense. So this is how these people were. This is how the people who were consciously re-traumatizing you were able to make it seem as if we're the good guys and you're the bad guys, because they taught you guys the wrong shit on purpose. They taught you guys the wrong shit on purpose so that you would basically feel that you are undeserving of everything that your skills and talents can manifest for you. They wanted you to use your skill sets limitedly as long as it didn't bring attention to what they were doing and how they had, instilled certain fear belief systems into you. So these people, they felt that they were living their best lives as long as they had you convinced that if you were receiving full payment for your skill sets, that you should feel guilty about it. But you should use your skill sets to basically support their agendas. So for the longest, this worked. Well, with the Justice and the Empress here, time's up. Whatever they had going on, where they felt it was just, it's not working no more. Time's up. Times is up. With the Empress here, I feel that whatever problems these people cause you guys, you are going to become self-made and give back to society. Now, the Empress is very respected. She's highly regarded and revered because whatever financial endeavor she embarks on nurtures everyone. With this Justice card, whatever it is you decide to do, it's going to be so nurturing to those who that they are oppressing. It's going to expose them, and you will be blessed abundantly with the Wheel of Fortune. And what they're going to learn is that just because they abused and exploited resources and were tyrannical in nature doesn't mean others will do the same. So if they try to say, hey, you're going to be a horrible person with all this stuff, they were simply projecting onto you. Now, with the Emperor and also the upright and the Nine of Wands in reverse, if they have positions of authority, they're going to be removed because they are creating way too many problems. And people who are, complications free and solution oriented will be getting their positions of authority. Point, period, blank. Let's get a little further. We have the Seven of Pentacles upright with the Ten of Wands in reverse. These people complicated your work environment. Well, let's just say they won't be able to complicate it anymore. These people try to start power struggles in your work environment. They're going to experience those same power struggles in their work environment, and this will get them exposed and make them lose positions of authority. And to end your reading, we have the Temperance and the Six of Pentacles. Actually, I got another message for you guys. These people are going to be giving you so much stuff unexpectedly when you least expect it, because they understand that it doesn't matter what they leave with or don't leave with. They understand they have royally fucked up. So to make amends, they're going to give you things without strings attached this time. And it ain't going to be where they start off giving you stuff without strings attached and then they start putting the strings on it. No, they're going to continuously give you things without strings attached. Now we have the Fool card and the Judgment here. Well, these people are going to try to run away with the Fool and Judgment, and they're going to continuously meet people who hold them accountable. It doesn't matter what area they go to. It doesn't matter what direction they go to. People will hold them accountable and tell them to just grow the fuck up. Ooh, child. So anyway, that is that reading, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it. That's that. Thank you guys for being present, and peace, love, and happiness, and blessings to you. All right, you guys. So thank you for joining me for this community message. All right, let's talk about it. We'll get a couple of quick messages, and then if thank you for joining me for the community message. Two of Cups. Ooh. Page of Pentacles. And the Star. Okay. Interesting. With the Page of Pentacles here, supported by the Seven of Pentacles, I feel you're being asked to focus on your work, okay? I feel you're being asked to fine-tune your work and keep it fresh, keep it light. Because with the Lover's card here and the Knight of Swords, I feel that if you're watching this, you probably have multiple options in love, but you also have to be, you want to use wisdom with the decisions that you make. And you're being asked to trust yourself on the decisions that you make. Because in this point in time, if you have a lot of options in love, you want to make sure that you choose what's going to be best for you and your loved ones overall, long term. So in this moment, you're being asked to, with the Lovers here in the Page of Pentacles being next to each other, you're being asked to, put all that love and care and attention that you would put into a romantic relationship into what it is you're passionate about, okay? Um, Even if it's drawing, you're being asked to put all that passionate, romantic love and all that passionate, romantic love that you would put into another person into what you're doing. With the Seven of Pentacles here and the Knight of Swords, you're being asked to stay focused on being focused on making sure your foundation is stable by making sure the mundane tasks remain high quality and integrity field, okay? Now let's talk about the Star card here and the Nine of Pentacles, all right? So we're living in a time here where, and this is going to be shifting quite soon, where if you were able to maintain um, your ideal lifestyle on your own, you were known as being famous. Okay. For example, if you think about it, the movie stars and the entertainers that we grew up on, we knew that they were financially savvy and they were also in the public eye. Well, that's about to be changing. Um, and the reason has to do with the Ace of Wands in reverse. This is because there was a lot of negative sexual energy that was put on people who can maintain their own well being, okay? This is saying that if you are a healer, you deserve to basically be able to have your own lifestyle. And that does not make it okay for people to sexually harass you. Whatever your lifestyle personally is, if it's not hurting anyone, if it's not hurting you, if it's actually enhancing people's lifestyle, for the best, for the positives, with the star card here. You deserve this. And I feel like we're moving from a time where if this Ace of Wands was upright, this is where people would have tried to community gang stalk you with perpetual sexual harassment. But that's being removed, okay? Because it's starting to show the people who perpetually sexually harass people who are independent and they're self healers, they have difficulty providing for themselves, and they're they're repeating cycles of trauma. So a lot of these people with the Hermit card here and the Knight of Cups, let's talk about it. They are going to be releasing codependency. Let's talk about it. How are they going to be releasing codependency? With the Seven of Wands here and the King of Swords, this is a good time to basically call out anybody and anybody who is basically, disrespecting your boundaries, consistently trying to um get one over on you. Now, one of the reasons that a lot of people who are independent and self healers were targeted for sexual harassment scams is because a lot of the people who sexually harassed them could not maintain their own cost of living. Now, a lot of self healers who were independent were subjected to a lot of homelessness, they were subjected to rape. They were subjected to having their human rights shitted on a projection of endless basis. So this is where know your laws with the King of Swords, so that when you speak to these individuals who don't, and I don't feel that it's going to be an issue, but if you are learning how to set healthy boundaries, you want to embody the King of Swords energy, because nobody fucks with the King of Swords, okay? People are very afraid that if they fuck with the King of Swords, they're going to lose their foundation. Now, the fact this King of Swords is upright, this means this is integrity and justice is taking place. Now, if the King of Swords was reversed, this would mean you would have people being extremely intelligent and abusing and exploiting the wisdom that they have connected to the law. But with the King of Swords here, if you communicate in this manner, this lets people know, I will literally fuck you up. And because a lot of self-healers who are independent, who have been targeted for sexual harassment scams, and then you've had a lot of narcissistic individuals, work together to justify the sexual harassment until the sexual harassment happens to them. So you may have some narcissistic individuals being able to see your perspective of sexual harassment when they have to break the cycle of being sexually harassed themselves. Let's just say return to senders are happening. And people who perpetually and habitually sexually harass people to basically have a roof over their head, to have a social group, to be able to be viewed in a position of power. And because they did it very strategically, they did it covertly, they did it in a manner where they would be able to get the benefits of sexually traumatizing someone, taking things from them, and then this is where a lot of victims of sexual trauma, they remain silenced. So a lot of that's coming out. Even children will be talking about, if an uncle touched them. And this is where these people with the King of Swords, with the King of Swords, and also with the Seven of Wands, with the Seven of Swords here in reverse, these people are going to believe the victims of sexual trauma. So let's just say these people considered traumatizing people sexually as a bit of a game. And what was the motivation behind it? The Two of Cups here. They desired people that just generally wasn't interested in them. With the Seven of Swords in reverse, if you're an honest person, you more than likely have experienced sexual harassment because the people who targeted you, this is the example of relationships that they saw. They saw such stupidity in relationships with the Seven of Wands here. These people saw so much fighting and bickering, and they saw one way for the person oppressing the person that was being abused was via sexual trauma. So a lot of these people who have been normalizing sexual harassment, who have been trying to gaslight people who call them out on sexual harassment, and females do it too. Let's keep it a buck. Females are much worse with sexual harassment, y'all. Well, they were able to get away with it due to community gang stalking. However, what a lot of people is not aware of is that sexual harassment was a way to secure a person who was a self-healer and who was independent. Because that meant if that person could heal themselves, they could heal someone else. If that person was independent, then that means they had extra money. And this is how these people who thought, if I have to sexually harass you to get something from you, there's people who have gotten into marriages and they're now starting to realize, I never really loved you, but I got with you because you sexually harassed me. And now we have a child together, and I'm afraid for my child's safety. In fact, some people might even be afraid of their child's safety. They're trying to figure out, how do I protect my child from this person? And how do I become the hero that my children need? So this is where abusive people who have basically if you have a child with someone who is who does practice sexual harassment, they possibly have already sexually harassed people outside of the relationship with infidelity filled connections. So this is where, with this Seven of Wands here, these people are not going to be given an open. This is where, with the King of Swords, they won't be given a chance to gaslight the situation and say, you're overthinking things. You lying again. Is something wrong with you? Why you always starting fights? No. These people are getting an understanding. No means no. And when I said that we're done, we're done. And if you don't respect that and you try to use our children as pawns, what do we need to do to make it so our children can be safe? So expect a lot of conscious parents to basically bring awareness to how they have been sexually traumatized in abusive relationships with narcissistic individuals. Expect these narcissistic individuals to lose their families, their family foundations, because they terrorize their families. And anyone that they try to get with is going to see them as a liability. All right, now with the Two of Cups and the Seven of Swords in reverse, this is going to make it easier for narcissistic individuals to stop recklessly fathering and mothering children. And I had to put that mothering part in it because narcissistic women are harder to catch than narcissistic men. And my mother was a class A narcissist, okay? She could have taught a whole school on how to become the best narcissist in the world. So you can only imagine how I know so much because my mother terrified the shit out of me. And for me to not be terrified of her at this point in time, I had to understand her process, okay? So you can expect that narcissists are going to be much more scared to get away with sexual harassment and trying to force people into relationships. And narcissistic individuals used to heavily utilize spell work. They will utilize community game stalking. They will utilize isolating their victims of choice. And specifically, they wanted people who were independent and self-healers. So you can expect that it's going to be a lot more easier to date now. Less boundaries being crossed with the King of Swords. More fidelity filled connections. Because narcissistic individuals use so much deception because they needed multiple supply for those sex addictions, okay? You ain't gonna have to, if you are have been manifesting a romantic connection by heavily setting boundaries consistently in this King of Swords energy, you have attracted a deceptive free commitment that has loyalty in it, okay? And narcissists aren't gonna feel so free to just create third party situations anymore. So if you also have a court case, and if the person is trying to start shit with you due to a court case, well, if a person's trying to start shit with you in this court case due to you having a healthy, happy relationship at this point in time, realize that all that defamation of character will it's gonna fall back on them, and it's gonna show how those people just frankly did not know how to leave well alone after you established boundaries that the relationship had ended. It's also, if you have a court case, it's gonna show up how the toxic, if you have a child custody battle, it's going to show up how the toxic parent who was codependent and was reliant on that romantic relationship to have their basic needs met, and didn't appreciate what they had when they had it. It's going to show how they negatively impacted the children. Okay? So we have the World here, you guys, and we have the Ace of Cups and the Queen of Cups, all right? So this is saying that if you are an empath, expect to receive the love that you give out, okay? Expect to be respected and appreciated. As empaths, you guys consistently set the example of how to maneuver dealing with very difficult people who utilize community gang stalking, who utilize bullying, even in adult age. And the fact that you're able to stay graceful under high levels of pressure, the fact that you choose forgiveness, it is not being ignored anymore. It's being honored because a lot of people are feeling the effects of being around narcissistic individuals. They're not letting narcissistic individuals gaslight them when they say they just want space. And narcissistic individuals is trying to basically make it seem as if we're good people. We promise. We promise. Why are you overreacting? We just sat next to you. Is something wrong? Let's be honest. These narcissistic individuals know that they know the quality of of energy that they bring. They know the type of hell that follows them. They're fully aware that being around them creates a lot of agitation in people. So no longer can they say, "What is wrong? Why do you keep overreacting?" No, it's going to be logically looked at as, why do you keep forcing yourself on people? Why do you keep going out your way to start unwanted conversation with people who minding their own business? Why do you keep basically trying to get everyone to see your way of viewing things when there's so many diverse ways to look at things? And instead of simply just being and letting things naturally occur, why do you keep trying to force stuff? So people gonna be protecting themselves even more from narcissistic individuals at this point, because the amount of damage that has occurred. I mean, they're teaching meditation in schools right now. This is how much stress children are under in high stress homes. So for a child to have to go from a high stress home to a high stress environment externally, this is where a lot of people are starting to understand boundaries cannot be gaslit anymore. There's no way you can gaslight healthy boundaries. There's no way you can negatively narrate healthy boundaries that are practiced on a consistent daily basis. So, if there's a court case, it's going to show that anyone who has gaslit you, they had ulterior motive. And also what's going to come out is what that ulterior motive was. Now, this may come out in a surprising manner, in a surprising way, but the person who will be exposed for gaslighting you, for setting boundaries in the past, is now going to be regretting it, because when their true intentions of why they gaslight you come out, they're not going to want to show their face in public no more. Anyway, we're going to end the reading here, and that's the community message.